Good evening, everyone. My name is Jens Lawrence Silausa, and I will be discussing Section 2 of Customs Memorandum, Order Number 3-22, also known as the Administrative Provisions under the Revised Rules and Regulations on the Establishment, Supervision, Operation, and Control Customs Banded Warehouses. So, this section contains the important rules and guidelines that every banded warehouse must follow with handling imported goods. So, let's start with general consideration under Section 2. These are the standard rules that apply to all types of customs banded warehouses, whenever private, common, or industry specific. So 2.1, transfers of goods to CBWs. All goods that will be transferred to a CBW must go through a non-exclusive inspection like X-ray scanning at the port of discharge. This applies whether the goods are for warehousing or transit. After inspection, they can be moved immediately to the CBW where a 100% physical examination will be done. In short, all goods must be checked before entering the warehouse to prevent smuggling and ensure proper control. So, second, 2.1 to 2, storage period of banded goods. Goods may stay in a banded warehouse for only 1 year from their arrival. For perishable goods, the limit is 3 months, extended for another 3 months if approved in writing. This rule prevents goods from being stored indefinitely and ensures that are either exported or properly cleared on time. So the third one is allowable importations. Importations must strictly follow what's written in the CBW's license or authority, such as the specific raw materials and their HS tariff lines, the quantity or volume approved, and for industry specific CBWs, the list of client and users. If a CBW imports more than what is allowed, that excess goods will be subject to duties and taxes. This ensures that banded privileges are not abused. So the fourth one, non-importation of finished goods. Finished goods are not allowed to be imported into CBWs unless they are used as component in producing another export product and approved by customs banded warehouses commit. This ensures that CBWs are used mainly for manufacturing for export, not for tax-free in storage of finished products. So the fifth one, registered and regulated goods. Goods are restricted or regulated like firearms, medicines, or chemicals must have the proper clearance from government agencies before importation. If not, they will be seized or fertilized. This rule ensures safety, legality, and compliance with other national laws. So the sixth one, withdrawals for local sale or domestic consumption. Normally, banded goods are for export, not for local sale. However, local sale is allowed only if the district collector approve it, duties and taxes are paid, and the total does not exceed 30% of the yearly import volume. But take note, private CBWs are not covered by 30% limit. This rule maintains export focus while giving limited flexibility for domestic use. And the seventh one, withdrawal for subcontracting. Sometimes a CBW may not have enough time or equipment to finish production. In that case, it may withdraw banded goods without paying duties or taxes for subcontracting provide that. So 8. Prohibition on importations by industry-specific CBWs. Industry-specific CBWs are not allowed to import fibers, yarns, fabrics, and accessories for garments. This helps regulate the textile industry and prevent overlapping import privileges. So 2.2 provisions specific to common CBWs and members. Now, let's move the rules specifically for common customs bonded warehouses and their accredited member. So 2.2.1, each manufacturing exporter can be accredited with only one CBW, which will be their mother warehouse. This prevents duplication and confusing and monetary. So the second one, both the mother warehouse and its member must keep complete books of accounts and records and protect their imported materials from loss or damage. So 2.2.3, customs official can inspect any CBW at any time with an approved mission order. This ensures that warehouse operations are transparent and compliant. And the fourth one, all goods for transfer to a CBW must first go through the operator for recording and inventory, unless the district collector allow transfer to member warehouse. And in the fifth one, the CBW operator is responsible for liquidating all imported raw materials used by members, meaning they must report how the goods were used or exported. 2.2.6 is a CBW member has no import or export activity for 1 year. Its accreditation is automatically terminated. However, they can reapply later. 2.27 and 2.28, transferring membership or selling goods to other members cannot be used to extend the original 1-year storage period. This avoids manipulation of storage limit. The 2.29, members of the same CBW may transfer semi-finished or finished goods between each other without duties or taxes. This encourages collaboration among exporters. So next is 10 to 12. When transfer happens, a new WSAD, goods declaration for warehousing, must be filled for monitoring. Transfer behind the first buyer are not allowed. So the next one is 13 and 14. Both the CBW operator and the members are jointly responsible for the liquidation and for any liabilities or violations related to bonded goods. This means both. So section 10, supervision, monitoring, and audits. This section is the oversight and control mechanism of the BOC over CBW operations. It formalizes and strengthens the Bureau inspection and verification powers to prevent revenue leak and fraud continuance. Supervision and monitoring, the BOC as fiscally and warehousing coordination division or its equivalent is tasked with the continuance, supervision, and monitoring of the CBWs. This is not a one-time process but an ongoing effort to ensure the rules. Mandatory physical and inventory checks. Customs officers are required to conduct regular physical inspection and inventory taking of the bonded goods and CBW premises. This is primary safeguard to ensure that all imported raw materials are accounted for and the CBW facility meets the required security standard. So the Section 11, Rights and Obligation of the CBW Operators. This section clearly defines the expectation and entitlements of the business entity licensed to operate a CBW, forming the basis of their contracted relationship with the BOC. So the Section 12, Accountability of BOC Personnel. Section 12 is a critical provision for governance and integrity within the BOC. It clearly stipulates the liabilities of customs personnel who fail to uphold the law and their duties related to CBW supervision, non-performance of a duty. Any customs personnel from the district collector down to the warehouseman found to have failed to perform their mandates duties under the CMW, particularly those related to supervision, monitoring, inspection, and liquidation, shall be held administratively liable. Coordination or tolerance. Personnel who are found to have conduct, tolerate, or convict with a CBW operator and committing any violation. So, liquidation, unitarize, withdrawal, or smuggling shall be subject to administrative and criminal penalties under the Customs Moderation and Tariff Act CMTA and other applicable laws. Strict enforcement. This section serves as a direct reminder that the responsibility for ensuring a tight control regime over CBWs rests only with the operators but also with the assigned customs officer, enforcing a culture of transparency and accountability. Now, for Section 18, Suspension and Closure of CBW. These sections state that a customs bonded warehouse may be suspended or closed if it violates customs laws, fails to comply with reporting requirements, or engage in fraudulent activities. The purpose of the provision is to protect revenue collection, prevent smuggling, and maintain integrity in bonded warehouse operations. And lastly, we have penalties, violations, and compliance under this part. The BOC enforce administrative and criminal penalties for any form of non-compliance such as misdeclaration, underreporting, failure to submit required documents, or unitarized use of imported goods. The goal is to promote discipline among warehouse operators and ensure that all bonded activities are conducted legally, transparent, and transfer. And that's all.